Some went away story problems. In this lesson, you will learn and practice how to identify some went away story problems. Words that mean some went away or subtract. Took, spent, how many more, left, went away, less, gave away, difference. I'm going to show you two story problems, and I want you to find the key words that tell us we have to subtract. There are 14 birds sitting on a fence. 6 flew away. How many birds are left? To solve this problem, there's 4 steps that we need to take. The first step is to underline the question. How many birds are left? Next, we have to find out what happened in the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story is usually the first sentence. There were 14 birds sitting on a fence. Next, we have to figure out what happened next. 6 flew away. Do I add or subtract to answer my question? Do you see any key words that might tell us we have to subtract? I see the word left and went away. So this story problem is saying that there were 14 birds sitting on a fence and then 6 went away. So this is going to be a some went away story problem. This means we have to subtract. We have to subtract 14 birds minus 6 birds. How many birds are left? 8 birds. Let's do another one. Frank had 10 pennies in his pocket. His friend Gary had 6 pennies in his pocket. How many more pennies does Frank have than Gary? To solve this problem, there's 4 steps that we need to take. First, underline the question. How many more pennies does Frank have than Gary? Next, what happened in the beginning of the story? In the beginning of the story, it tells us that Frank had 10 pennies in his pocket. What happened next? His friend Gary had 6 pennies in his pocket. Do you see any key words or key phrases that might tell us that we have to subtract? How about how many more? That key phrase, how many more, tells us that we have to subtract. Our story problem is telling us that Frank has more pennies than Gary, so we have to subtract 10 pennies minus 6 pennies to figure out how many more pennies Frank has. Well, 10 pennies minus 6 pennies is 4 pennies. Now it's your turn.